The following video is being used as part of a clinical research study. If you're not interested in participating in a clinical research study, you do not have to continue to watch this video. If you are interested in learning more about participating in a clinical research study, please continue to watch this video.
Thank you so much for your interest in participating in a clinical research study. You're probably wondering if this is the right decision for you. This video will help you understand more about clinical studies and how it can potentially benefit both you and your community.
What is a clinical research study?
Clinical research, also known as clinical studies or clinical trials, are the scientific testing of new procedures, therapies, or devices. The goal of clinical drug trial is to determine if an investigational drug or device is safe and if it works to improve the disease being treated. The reason that pharmaceutical companies and research institutions do clinical trials is to ultimately improve the quality of life of people with chronic diseases. A good clinical trial has participants of different age, gender, and racial backgrounds depending on the disease state being treated. It is through your participation in the clinical trials that we can assure that any new drug or device that is released for public use is safe and works in humans.
What is the role of the Food and Drug Administration?
The FDA is the approval authority for any new drug or device that is being used in the United States. This agency is responsible for making sure that any new product or device is safe, effective, and works in all people.
Why is it so important for African Americans to participate in clinical trials? African Americans develop serious illnesses such as hypertension, prostate cancer, diabetes, and AIDS much more often than do other Americans. We suffer more complications and in some instances die earlier from many of these same conditions and diseases. We need to find ways to reduce or eliminate these high rates in our communities. Clinical trials may be part of the answer. Due to lack of participation in clinical trials over the years, very little is known about how African Americans respond to various treatments. We know that African Americans metabolize some drugs differently than Caucasians, and that some drugs may require higher doses to get the same effect. We also know that there are certain medications that cause different side effects in African Americans than seen in Caucasians. Why do African Americans not participate in clinical trials?
There are a number of reasons given why African Americans do not participate in clinical trials. And those reasons include lack of awareness. People simply don't know about them. Or they have no access to health care, to the places where these clinical trials are being done. In those cases where people do have access, they often say the doctor didn't recommend participation. Or there is a fear or a mistrust of the whole system of clinical research in their medical care. There are a number of cultural beliefs and myths concerning the use of minority patients as guinea pigs or as preferred experimental subjects. And of course, this derives from racial and ethnic discrimination that's been the case in past instances of clinical research. Many people often hearken back to the old Tuskegee or so-called Tuskegee experiment.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of participating in a clinical research study?
The advantages include that you are actually receiving care while you're participating in the study for your condition. Second, it means that you have early access to some of the newest and most recently developed investigational drugs and devices for the condition that's under study. You have the benefit of knowing that your participation in this clinical trial has the potential to help others, like yourself, in the future. And then you will be receiving in these studies a small stipend to help cover some of your time, your travel, and things like childcare.
Disadvantages include you will not be able to choose your study treatment between study treatment A or study treatment B. You may receive a study treatment that does not work as planned. As with any drug treatment, there may be some unpleasantness associated with the study treatments and the possibility of experiencing a side effect. Those are the advantages and disadvantages usually associated with participation. What questions should you ask before participating in a clinical trial? Remember that participating in a clinical trial will require a commitment of time and a willingness to complete the trial. Note: your participation in a clinical research study is voluntary, and you can leave the study at any time for any reason. Questions to ask: what type of clinical trial is this, and what is the goal of the study? What types of patients are being enrolled in the study? How will I know if I'm getting the study drug or the inactive placebo? What will I have to do to fully participate in the study? How long will the study last? Will my insurance cover all of my tests, hospitalization, office visits, and medication? Will I receive compensation for my time, travel, or childcare expenses? What are the potential side effects of the study drug? If the treatment works, can I remain on the drug after the study is over? How will I know if the study drug is not working? Can I change my mind and withdraw from the study without any problems? What is informed consent?
Informed consent is a process that makes sure that every volunteer for a clinical study is told everything he or she needs to know in order to make a good and independent judgment about whether to join a trial. Informed consent has two parts. First, being informed, then maybe giving consent. Being informed means that the physician investigator must tell you everything you need to know to make a good decision about whether or not to join a trial. The investigator must tell you about the purpose of the trial and what they expect to happen. This includes all of the risks and the benefits of joining the study. Giving your consent means that you have agreed in writing to join a clinical trial of your own free will. It is against the law for anyone to pressure you or to force you in any way to join a clinical study.
Thank you for your interest in clinical trials.